too early to look at 2026 for Ohio State football? Well, when the schedule is released, the actual opponents, dates, order, all that finally is in our hands. We will break down what we're thinking as Ohio State football learns what 2026 is going to look like. Schedule-wise, we're going to break it down, make predictions, add notes, and of course hear from you on the Ohio State Football Report. But first, if you're hype for the 2026 season, if you can't wait, if it's a while away but you wish it's tomorrow, swipe right in the comment section. If you're watching on mobile, you'll see that hype button. Smash that hype button and hype up both the channel, the Buckeyes, the season, all that. Again, swipe right, comment section. Next thing you know, you'll see a hype button. Smash that hype button right away. The Buckeyes begin their season, after last year, a tune-up game, a warm-up game, Ball State at home. Thank you. It felt like a month-long preparation for one matchup with Texas last year. This is what the Buckeyes need, and this is what I've got them doing. Dominating to open the season, getting time for the freshmen, getting everybody warmed up, getting everybody feeling good. I have the Buckeyes winning big. Yeah, I'm throwing some score predictions in here. I don't know. We learn more about these teams throughout the offseason. We're going to learn more about these teams. By the fact you get to a Week 10 matchup against Oregon, you look what Penn State did last season. You never know. But great warm-up game for the Buckeyes to take on Ball State at home next year, because that has to get you ready for Week 2 at Texas on the road. You're going to face the Longhorns in their stadium, the cannon going off pregame, the smoke, that burnt orange everywhere. It'll be horns up, everywhere, hook 'em horns everywhere. It's going to be a tough atmosphere for Ohio State. However, I like the group they're bringing back, especially offensively. The experience is there. I'm feeling good about it. I'm still not a gigantic Arch Manning believer. I think he hasn't found his footing as a quarterback yet in college football, and I don't know that Ohio State is the team he's going to do it against in Week 2, especially. Not the same defense, but he has those visions of what happened last year. I like some of the things Texas did in the portal. I don't like all the things Texas did, especially the guys they lost. This is the type of game Ryan Day gets his team ready for well. Yes, early in the season, but a close one. Nonetheless, that'll be a really, really entertaining game. Got the Buckeyes taking care of business, 24-21. Facts are facts. That's going to be a really, really fun game. We still don't know times on that. Could be a night game. Not completely sure yet. Let's hear from you. We have a while to go breaking down the schedule, but hey, call your shot now. Predict it. Predict Ohio State's record in 2026. Maybe you just want to do regular season. That's fine. 12-0 this year, or do playoffs too. Predict the record for Ohio State in 2026. Let's do regular season. We got the schedule lined up for you today. All right, you come off Texas, and again, this is a great part where you go into such a huge game, so much effort, so much preparation, and then you kind of ease off the gas again a little bit to take on a Kent State, which I think is perfect, and I think is set for a beatdown. I think this will be very similar to the Grambling game. You're going to see Tavian St. Clair, the 5-star backup for the Buckeyes. That was the moment you learned about Bo Jackson, right? What player are you going to learn about next year in a game like this? And the big thing is, like I said, you come off Texas to a home game against Kent State. I think this is perfect. Tune-up game, big game, ease-off game, perfect for the Buckeyes to begin the season. Then Week 4, it is Illinois, the Illini. The big thing about some of these Big Ten teams, they're regrouping after last year, right? So we do have to kind of figure out a couple of things. Illinois is going to lose Luke Altmaier, their quarterback. So, again, when I say we're going to make our predictions today, and I've got the Buckeyes winning this one, I have a lot of respect for Brett Bielema as a coach. So I think, it's close enough, but not a beatdown. This is a team, like I said, we're going to learn a lot in the first 3 weeks before the Buckeyes take them on. Score predictions are very difficult when, you got to go through spring practice, you got to go through fall, you got to see a couple games and then make your prediction. Either way, I have enough respect for Brett Bielema that it's at a 35-10 Buckeye win to begin the season. Reminder, if you are just now checking out the channel or if you've never checked it out before, we do live watch parties for the game, giveaways. We're talking ball. We've got the scoreboard. We've got stats, analysis, and more. Essentially, if you're rolling around and you don't know where to get the game quickly, make sure you subscribe here with us. Or if, hey, you want a different way to watch the game, we have a lot of people that watch us and the game at the same time. Be sure to hit that sub button so you don't miss it next season. Now, at Iowa, the big thing for me with games like this is you may see on social media people say, "Oh, and you got to go to Iowa." That's a tough one. That's a difficult game. And again, I respect Kirk Ferentz as a coach in college football. However, another situation, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that you're traveling to Iowa, that they usually have a competitive offense and a defense that likes to control the game overall. But this is another situation where I haven't seen Iowa yet. I don't know enough about them. They're making changes at quarterback. They're doing different things on different positions on the field. They weren't exactly a portal bait and switch team. I have the Buckeyes winning in this one. I'm going to give Iowa respect for being at home, quality coaching, fact that they've stayed competitive over the years. However, I will note this is another game where it's like I need to see Iowa a little bit before I can make a strong record prediction, but no reason the Buckeyes shouldn't handle their business on the road. And again, I like these games early in the season. They're going to get physical. They're going to be a test. They're going to be difficult, but I've got Ohio State getting it done. Then it is home against Maryland. All the Terps really have going for them, to be honest. Malik Washington, their freshman quarterback, had a good freshman season. He returns. They were able to keep him out of the portal. Doesn't matter to me if it's the Buckeyes and the Terps. It's the Buckeyes winning big. I think this is really where Ohio State can really get in a groove. They're in Big Ten play. They're seeing different types of teams. They're past that Texas game. I like the Buckeyes winning this one. I think Maryland has some talent, but I think that record in 2025 speaks to kind of what happens to them every single year. I should note this is also the Buckeyes, in a way, tune-up game for a gigantic matchup at Indiana. The defending national champions, the Buckeyes will take on Week 7. They travel to Bloomington. This is just going to be a huge matchup. I'm watching out. Probably going to be big noon kickoff. I'd like some night games in there. I don't really know how that's going to shake it off. I got the Buckeyes getting this bad boy done. I have them going on the road, beating the defending national champions. No, they don't have Fernando Mendoza, but the Hoosiers went hard in the portal. They went for it in the portal. They racked up 10 names in like one day right away. They got a quarterback transfer who they're very confident in. They added some talent. Nick Marsh, that's a guy we all really wanted for Ohio State. They added him. They're going to return guys from that national title team. I'll give them the same credit I gave the Buckeyes. Yes, they will lose a lot of players, but absolutely they will bring a lot of that talent back. Plus, now more than ever, it's easier to add talent to the portal. Buckeyes winning that one on the road against the Hoosiers, 28-17, and that one also should be just a very entertaining matchup in general for the college football world. We'll get back to the schedule in just 1 second. Do want to let you guys know the big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, we now know who's playing in that one. That also means it's your last chance to get in on football action before next season. Yeah, football season's about to end, which is crazy to think about. So close out the season right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineups. Don't really know how to play or put something together or what to do? We got you here on the Ohio State Football Report by Chad Sports. Little mock-up 3-pick power play. I like to start with just picking players I think are either going to do good or bad, and then you go from there. You see what your options are. I think Drake May will throw a touchdown pass. I see Moore on a half-pass touchdown. Hit that button right away on the Moore. Ramondre Stevenson, I'm a Travion Henderson guy, so I take less on the 52.5 rushing yards. I think Trey's going to have his moment. And then Moore, I like Sam Darnold. I like the way he's played, and I'm now a believer, so I go Moore on the 229.5 passing yards. That's simple. 3-pick power play. You can do a 2-pick, 4-pick. I've seen 6-pick. I mean, you can go if you really want to put a lineup together. And one of the new features they have right now on PrizePicks, if one or two of those, was paying off early, if it gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Also, you can find your community on PrizePicks. Like I said, if you don't really know what lineup you want to put together, you're able to share lineups now on PrizePicks with friends, copy their lineups from winners with just one click. You can also use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be Right. Back to the schedule. Bonus here for Ohio State. You do go into this obviously giant matchup on the road at Indiana, and then again ease off the break a little bit. It will be nice to have that off week, and I will say you need that off week really, really bad because of the next 2 games that come up on your schedule. You will then head to the West Coast to take on USC, and essentially I want to note here, I don't mind revealing Oregon's next in Week 10. So you're going probably 3 straight games against top 15 teams, top 20 teams. I don't know how USC is going to shake out. They've got their quarterback, Jordan Maivia's back next season. So, to go Indiana, you do get the bye week, USC, and then Oregon. It's going to be crazy. I've got a high-scoring thriller at USC. I think this is going to be such a fun game. I actually think this might end up being a night game. I think this will just be, another one of those games, and I keep saying that's just very entertaining, right? I know as Buckeye fans, we want them to win. That's our prime concern. Sometimes you're just going to sit back and watch a really good game, and I think that's what's going to happen against USC. Again, they've got their quarterback back. They did some good things in the portal. They're supposed to be coming off this huge recruiting run, so there's a lot of hype for the Trojans, but got the Buckeyes getting it done on the road, which leads us into the next week. And again, the stretch is Indiana, bye week, USC, Oregon. I think that's a really tough 4-week stretch, even with the bye. The Ducks come to Columbus to take on Ohio State. And how many times have you heard me say this during our show today? They've got their quarterback returning. Dante Moore returns for the Ducks next season. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the loss on Ohio State's schedule. I think Oregon's coming in hot and heavy. I think that's a very difficult stretch for the Buckeyes. Again, we'll have to see how the Ducks look overall next season. But I just feel like this is going to be a very difficult game to win with everything you've gone through to this point. The matchup itself in a bubble, right? You could already say Oregon may win this one just because of who Oregon is, but the fact that the Buckeyes are on this really, really tough stretch, another option for prime time. My money would be on a big noon kickoff, an entertaining game once again. However, this is a loss on the Ohio State schedule. Early prediction from me, never know. Maybe Dylan Raiola wins that job. I don't know. But I think that'll be an entertaining one, but I'm giving the Ducks the edge as of right now. My question for you, we know what most fans consider the biggest game on the schedule, but hey, you're playing the defending national champs. You've got Oregon at home. Then you've got the team up north later in the season. What is the biggest game on Ohio State's schedule in 2026? Let us know down below. All right, Northwestern actually finished the season better than predicted last year. They've got some fight in them. I think they're on the up and up. But this is, in my prediction, Ohio State coming off a loss, and they're back at home the next week. I just think, they'll just take care of business here. I don't really have a ton to say. You're kind of still reacting to the Oregon loss, and you hope the Buckeyes can get back on track at a time like this before they pivot and go into a tough matchup at Nebraska. Yes, and this is one of those games similar to Iowa where we need to learn about Nebraska, especially with their loss of Dylan Raiola. They did get a transfer quarterback from UNLV that is supposed to give them a little more juice at Nebraska, which is why I give them credit about trying to keep the game close, contain the game, limit turnovers, a little bit of hype, tough atmosphere, no doubt about it. Buckeyes handle this one. I don't predict Nebraska to have any sort of special season just because they got a transfer quarterback. I think Matt Rule's an okay coach. I think they're an okay program. That's why it's going to be an okay game. 24-6 Ohio State. But this is a game I do want to know. A lot of people are just kind of saying, like, hey, at Nebraska is not easy, no matter who it is. It's the same as Iowa, where at Nebraska, never going to be all that easy to go out there and play that game. And then Week 13, the Buckeyes take on the Wolverines, the team up north. A lot of changes for that program. They're another team that, hey, we got to see how they're doing, how they sort through things. Year 2 for Bryce Underwood, new offensive coordinator, new coach. I think there's a lot of change for Michigan, and I think it's not change in a good way, not change in an ideal way. And I think Ryan Day has really hit his stride. This should be him hitting his stride against Michigan and just really going. I think that's what's going to happen here. The Buckeyes, you probably predict bad weather once again, tough weather once again, that time of year. I've got Ohio State beating the team up north as it should be in this one. So good news on that front. So the one loss for the Buckeyes there, but a lot of good, no doubt, throughout the season. I've seen a lot of you guys already saying toughest schedule in college football. This is the most difficult I've ever seen, so on and so forth. Let me know down below. Grade the difficulty of Ohio State's 2026 schedule. 10 is the toughest in college football, hardest in years. Can't win more than this many games, whatever. 1 is like, it's the Buckeyes. They'll get it done. Scale it for me, 1 to 10 down below. All right, my record prediction, as I stated, OSU goes 11-1. Is worth noting on that schedule, there's just one bye week this year. It's how the schedule kind of shifted around. You should note the college football schedule, just one bye week this time. I just think that stretch, like I talked about, that Indiana bye at USC, at Indiana bye at USC, Oregon, I think there's a loss in there somewhere, and I think the Ducks always play Ohio State really tough. I think Dan Lanning usually plays them really tough. Of course, got them in the Rose Bowl pretty good, but, I mean, we've seen Dan Lanning and the Ducks get Ohio State multiple times pretty good. I still think 11-1's very good in the current state of college football. It's very good for Ohio State. Probably still means a visit to the Big Ten title game for you, especially if your loss doesn't come directly to Michigan at the end of the season. I think good shot you're in the Big Ten title game and or in the playoff. In a successful 11-1 feels pretty good. Obviously, I would like to see 12-0. I think they're capable of 12-0. We're just going through some early predictions here. This is a difficult schedule. This is a really, really hard schedule. Trying to look up like past hardest schedules for Ohio State. Tough part here is hardest schedules are usually deemed off like early top 25 rankings for Ohio State. Some of the, like we took you guys through the on 3 top 25 way too early for 2026. Like Ohio State, Texas is probably a top 5 matchup. Ohio State, Oregon is probably a top 5 matchup. Indiana, top 10, top 15. We'll see how they shake out after, and there may be a surprise team in there, right? Illinois was ranked, then not ranked. USC could be top 20, could be 25 exactly. There's a lot that could shake out, but hey, I went through the research, tried to look a little bit preseason ranking-wise. There were some years in the 90s where the non-conference schedule just got a little crazy for Ohio State, shook out that way, and in season it got harder than before the season. So it's all wait and see. It's a little bit of fun predicting. But again, Ohio State looking to have a very difficult schedule. We will get you ready for it, and we'll be entrenched in it when the season begins. We'll be live here on the Ohio State Football Report for every single game, so be sure to subscribe.